إن الحمد لله وحده الصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وبعد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His countless blessings and mercy be upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with the deen which teaches us our attitude and approach towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also towards our fellow beings. What should be our relationship with our fellow human beings? And this relationship, our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is individualistic in nature. And then our relationship with others, it is collective in nature. The beauty of Islam is that it strikes a balance between both the ends. It neither overemphasizes the individualistic part that the collective responsibilities are undermined, nor it stresses upon the collective efforts in such a way that is individual responsibilities towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are ignored or neglected. Fine, beautiful relationship between the servant and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and between servant and the servant. And in this connection, there is a hadith in which Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam is reported to have said that a person's iman, as we know, the most important thing, rather it is valueless, priceless. The most important thing in one's life is iman, is to know a set of belief that determine his way of life. Otherwise, there is no difference between the animals and the humans. I always say the only difference is then they walk on the four, we walk on the two. What makes the difference between animals and the humans is our approach, our actions, our willpower to do a particular thing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with the iman, and this iman has different forms of levels. It has different forms and different levels. As we know that the iman of a person who just embraced Islam and the iman of a person who has been practicing Islam for years together, there will be a difference. However, sometimes those, and nowadays most of the time, those who embrace Islam, they surpass those who are by chance Muslims. So the level of iman depends upon one's devotion, one's sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there are differences. There are the different levels and different degrees of iman. The hadith which we are going to discuss about is narrated by Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu. عن أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه رواه البخاري ومسلم. Sayyidina Anas narrates radiyallahu anhu that our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا يؤمن أحدكم, no one of you achieve iman, or no one of you possess iman, حتى, until يحب لأخيه, he loves for his brother, ما يحب لنفسه, whatever he loves for himself. لا يؤمن أحدكم, no one of you possess iman, until he likes for his brother what he likes for himself. This hadith has been reported by Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, Abdullah ibn Mubarak rahimahullah in his Kitab al-Zuhd, then Abu Dawud at-Tayalisi, then there is also Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, Imam Tirmizi rahimahullah, Ibn Hibban, and there are many other muhaddithin who have reported this hadith. However, in Sahih Muslim, there is on the authority of Sayyidina Qatada radiyallahu anhu, that Sayyidina Anas radiyallahu anhu said that حَتَّى يُحِبَّ لِجَارِهِ أَوْ لِأَخِيهِ. So instead of لِأَخِيهِ, the hadith is also mentioning the Imam Muslim rahimahullah has also recorded this thing, that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, until he loves for his, or he likes for his neighbor what he likes for himself, or what he loves for himself. So this is the slight change in the wordings. So one narration is saying يُحِبَّ لِأَخِيهِ مَا يُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِهِ, until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. And the another narration of Sayyiduna Anas radiallahu anhu, but that is through the chain of Sayyiduna Qatada rahimahullah, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said, حَتَّى يُحِبَّ لِجَارِهِ, until he loves for his neighbor what he loves for himself. أَوْ لِأَخِيهِ, or whatever, until he loves for his brother whatever he loves for himself. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah has also reported another narration of almost of same nature, which says, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يبلغ عبد حقيقة الإيمان. But this hadith is actually explaining the place of the nature of the Iman, the level of the Iman mentioned in the hadith. Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يبلغ عبد حقيقة الإيمان حتى يحب للناس ما يحب لنفسه من الخير. لا يبلغ عبد حقيقة الإيمان. No servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reaches the top level of Iman, حقيقة الإيمان, the reality of Iman, the true nature of Iman. حتى, until يحب للناس, he loves for the people, for the mankind, ما يحب لنفسه من الخير, whatever he loves for himself of the good. And this hadith is, as I said before, it elucidating the previous hadith. And as far as this hadith is concerned, if you see, apparently it seems that if a person does not like for his brother or for his neighbors or for the mankind what he loves for himself, it means that he doesn't possess the Iman. If we see the apparent meaning, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. But I have made it clear time and again that as Iman has different levels, and here Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking about the highest level of Iman, the perfection of Iman. One is presence of Iman, second is perfection of Iman. Presence of Iman, if when a person professes the faith, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, we say he is a Muslim. Just pronunciation of this faith makes a person to be a Muslim. But we can say that here is presence of Iman. A person who professes the faith doesn't necessarily mean that he has a perfection of Iman. Because in order to achieve the perfection of Iman, there are many stages to cross. There are many things to practice. And there are many things to avoid. So a person cannot reach to the perfection of Iman in a jiffy. A person cannot reach to the perfection of Iman overnight, as is a long journey. So in this hadith, Prophet ﷺ mentions the perfection of Iman. So it means if a person doesn't like or doesn't love for his brothers or for his sisters what he loves for himself, this doesn't mean that person ceases to be a Muslim, ceases to be a mu'min. But what Prophet ﷺ emphasized upon is the perfection of Iman. A person will never achieve the perfection of Iman until he loves for the people, he loves for his neighbors, he loves for his brothers and sisters what he loves for himself. And this technically is known as Ithar. We'll discuss it later on. Ithar. Ithar means there's a top level. One is Insaf, second is Ihsan, and third level is Ithar. So we discuss it after a short while. So hadith is talking about the perfection of Iman. And there are many such ahadith in which the perfection of Iman has been mentioned. And like Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواه تبعا لما جئت به. No one shall achieve Iman or possess Iman, means possess the perfection of Iman, until or unless لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواه, unless his desires are subservient to the teachings I came along with. So unless and until a person's desires are not under the control of the Sharia, Prophet ﷺ, لا يؤمن أحدكم, none of you possess Iman. But here again we can see that if a person performs sins, if a person commits the sins, so his desires are not under control. Can we say that he doesn't possess Iman? No, we cannot say it like this. A person may be having the Iman, but at the same time he may be also performing the sins. The hadith is talking about the perfection of Iman. Yes, a person will not achieve the perfection of Iman, the pinnacle and the zenith of Iman, unless and until he controls all his desires. His desires come under the control of the Sharia. The bridle of his desires is given to the Sharia. So whatever Sharia acknowledges, he performs, and whatever Sharia disapproves of, he stays away from. When a person reaches to this level, that all his actions are being moderated by the Sharia, by the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can say that he has achieved the perfection of Iman. He has reached to the perfect level of Iman. And the hadith is talking about this level of Iman. And to make it more easier, so that we understand the distinction between the presence of Iman and the perfection of Iman. If a person has say for example, a person is having $1, and now he claims that he possesses the wealth. Now, when he claims that he possesses the wealth, is he telling the truth or he's telling a lie? One single ringgit, and he claims that he possesses the wealth. We cannot say that he's telling a lie. He possesses the wealth, though the amount of the wealth is it's much meager. It's much meager. On the other hand, if another person, he's having say 1 million ringgits, and he claims that he possesses the wealth, so can we say that yes, he also possesses the wealth, and there is no there is no even the shadow of doubt, no iota of doubt that he doesn't possess the wealth. But do you think that there is difference between the one who only possesses one single ringgit and the one who possesses 1 million ringgits? Do you think that there is difference between the two? Yes, definitely. So the one who possesses one single ringgit, we call it Iman Mawjood. Wealth is present, but it's not too much, it is not sufficient enough to fulfill all his needs. It's not sufficient enough to support his family. It's not sufficient enough to help out his brothers and sisters. But still we can say, yes, he possesses the wealth. He has the wealth with him. But the amount is too meager. On the other hand, the one who possesses 1 million, at the same breath he is blessed with the generosity. He is blessed with the munificence. So he can support his family, he can fulfill all his needs, he can help out his brothers and sisters. Likewise, Iman Mawjood and Iman Matloob. Iman Mawjood, when a person professes the faith, La ilaha illallah. So we can say he has the Iman, but this Iman is not enough to bring the higher stations of Jannah, to get him the higher ranks in the Jannah, or to get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not enough. And what type of Iman then we need? That is known Iman Matloob, desired Iman, present Iman and the desired Iman. So the hadith is talking about that form of Iman which brings the higher ranks of Jannah to a person, which brings the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And hadith is talking about the Iman which becomes instrumental in the paradigm shift in one's life. If you see the Sahaba Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'in, in the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly mentions in the Quran And that period is known as period of Jahiliyyah, the period of ignorance, Al-Asrul Al-Jahili. All the historians have entitled that period as Al-Asrul Jahili, the period of ignorance. And the people of Arabia, they were not knowing anything about such things. And the Sahaba Ridwanullahi Ta'ala alayhim ajma'in, the companions of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they were not aware about such things. But once they were exposed to this Iman, they left everything for it. It became easier for them to make all forms of sacrifice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because level of Iman had raised aloft. It was atop. So Iman, the journey of Iman, it starts from Iman Mawjood to Iman Matloob. This is the journey of Iman. And our journey started the day we were born, and then we became conscious of our own being. Then we found ourselves that we are brought up in a Muslim family. Then there was another blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we were blessed with this consciousness to recognize our roots, to search for our own existence, trying to find out the relationship between us and the Islam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the I should say, the best of one of the best blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala led us to the path of knowledge. Now we can see that the journey of Iman, it starts from the Iman Mawjood. When a person professes the faith, he acknowledges and he reaffirms that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his messenger, rather the last of the messengers. It's not only the statement. This statement now should be reflected in all walks of life. This statement of Iman, the statement of faith, it should be reflected in all forms and in all walks of life. That's what we call as desired Iman, or Iman Matloob. Presently we have Iman Mawjood. Alhamdulillah, we have Iman, we believe in Allah, and we believe in all articles of faith. But does it reflect in all our lives, in our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in our relationship with other fellow beings? Here we have to see, we have to introspect. We have to make the assessments. And this hadith is actually talking about the journey of Iman. How our journey of Iman takes us from Iman Mawjood to Iman Matloob. How a person from 1 single ringgit reaches to the 1 million ringgit. In terms of dunya, it's quite easier for us to understand, because it's all tangible. And we can see the fruits of it. In terms of akhirah, in terms of deen, it is all latent, abstract. We cannot see the fruits instantly here, because the reward has been kept in secrecy. Ulama say that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows to his servant just a wink of what Allah is going to give him, he won't tolerate it. He will be bursted out, because of the bounties and blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept for the believers. وَمَا تَدْرِي مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُمْ وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُمْ مِنْ قُرَّةِ أَعْيُنٍ وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ. No human soul knows. No human soul is acquainted of what the preparations of coolness of his eyes has been, the means of coolness of his eyes has been prepared for himself. وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُمْ مِنْ قُرَّةِ أَعْيُنٍ. No soul is aware of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made for him. Even Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no eye would have seen, no ears would have heard of, and beyond the imagination of a person's thinking. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept for the believers. But it is all under a veil, under the hijab. If this hijab is removed, the people will leave this dunya, they will abandon dunya, and they will leave everything. That is a test. So in terms of dunya, we can understand the journey of the wealth. So we need to move from 1 ringgit to 1 million ringgit, $1 to $1 million, then from $1 million to $1 billion. So this the journey is, this seems to be quite understandable. But Hadith is now telling us the true journey, spiritual journey, that makes us human being in absolute meaning, the true human beings. When we develop this selflessness, we do things for others, we face hardships for others. Not we are as the whole world, with certain exceptions, is growing selfish. All the system is based on this selfishness. And the Hadith is now trying to take us out of this mess of selfishness, and introduces us, exposes us to the world of selflessness, where the true essence of humanity lies. The true nature of human being lies when he grows selfless for others. That's what Prophet ﷺ said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. So our life is not only for ourselves. It's not just to build millions and billions. That's one aspect of life. Rather, our life, our efforts, our activities, and even many of the people, they are social activists. Someone is political activist, someone is human rights activist. But by the end of the day, it's a game of money, it's a game of fame and popularity. And whoever does anything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be it social activism, political activism, or human rights activism, or any other activism, if it is only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is selflessness emanating from that person, that's the essence of life. And that's a journey to the perfection of Iman. That you do something not for yourself, not to gain the popularity. It's not just a photo session. These activists, when they do anything, then they capture the photo and they upload on the Facebook and other social media platforms. The objective is the people become aware of their activism. And those who are Ahlullah, the men of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they do a lot of things, but they don't want people to see it. They do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's real activism, be it social activism or political activism. Because one of the Quranic verse that we should always remember that verse. قل, you say, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. You say, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna salati, indeed my prayer, wa nusuki, my sacrifice, wa mahyaya, my life, wa mamati, my death, lillahi rabbil alameen, it is all for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the worlds. So a believer is doing everything for the sake of Allah, be it individualistic efforts or collective efforts, be it his individual devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or his social activism, political activism, or any form of activism which help the people to ease out the sufferings. And that social activism always takes precedence over the individual devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the way to perfection of Iman is through the collective efforts. It is through collective efforts. So this hadith is now chalking out the path, the journey from Iman mawjood to Iman matlub. La yu'minu ahadukum. None of you possess Iman. But what form of Iman? Iman matlub. Kamalul Iman, the perfection of Iman. So we can translate it now as, none of you possess the perfection of Iman. So one should not be misled. There is no word kamal, there is no word takmil. How can we translate this? Actually, the hadith itself reflects, when we fit this hadith into the broad spectrum of Islam. So we find out that the Iman is of different degrees. And this hadith talks about the degree of perfection. None of you possess the perfection of Iman until he loves or he likes for his brother what he likes or loves for himself. And this Here what he likes for himself, but ulama say that he should like more for his brothers or sisters. Means giving preference to others upon himself. And there are many such ahadith which also suggest the meaning which I said, that giving preference to others. The hadith apparently seems to just equate the people. It's what I like for myself, I should like it for others. So again, this is the beginning level. The top level is that you wish for your brothers and sisters more than what you possess, what you wish for yourself. And so it is in terms of dunya. And in terms of deen, a person should always aim higher and higher. He should set higher targets to achieve. And when a person sets higher targets, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also opens up the gateways of hidayah, the doors of mercy, and the doors of good amal with full acceptance. So this hadith, إنما لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. So until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself, or he loves for the people what he loves for himself, or he loves for the neighbor what he loves for himself. These are the different forms of riwayat and different forms of narrations. And as I said before, this is directly related to the Kamalul Iman. And in this context, there's a hadith, Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, La yazni az-zani hina yazni wa huwa mu'min. When a fornicator commits the fornication, he ceases to be a believer. وَلَا يَسْرِقُ السَّارِقُ حِينَ يَسْرِقُ وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ. A thief, when he commits theft, ceases to be a believer. وَلَا يَشْرَبُ الْخَمْرَ حِينَ يَشْرَبُهَا وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ. And none of the people consumes the liquor, and that he is a mu'min, means he ceases to be a believer. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with the perfection of Iman, with the perfection of belief that will take us to the higher stations of Jannah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakumullah khaira. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallahu bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun alal mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.